I'm actually outside a block away from the Legislative Council in Admiralty. Early on, there were a large group of protesters on the overpass over there. They, again, was trying to surround the government headquarters. They were throwing petrol bombs. And in response, the police fired water cannon from inside the compound, both of the blue dye and the usual just water mixed with tear gas. But that didn't deter the protesters, a very young, large crowd of black-clad protesters. In the end, what drove them away was this group of hundreds of riot police coming in from a different direction, from Central, with another water cannon that seems to have done the job so far, at least as far as we could see. This part of Hong Kong Island is now under police control. Now, according to press reports, the protests around other parts of Hong Kong in Kowloon and New Territories have been much more violent today. As far as we could understand, local media has identified one person that was shot in the chest in Tsuen Wan by a police officer. We're not clear what the particular circumstances are at this point, but also on top of that, earlier, police officers fired 2 warning shots in Shui Po. This was when a police van was surrounded by a group of protesters, and the officers were outnumbered. Initially, actually, the protesters we spoke to were fairly optimistic today, because they thought the Hong Kong police would not adopt a forceful dispersal in front of international media, but clearly that is not how this has played out so far. When we were walking from Central towards Admiralty, we did see some protesters preparing petrol bombs. And mind you, this is already after the police said raided 2 locations overnight that was used to make more petrol bombs. But unfortunately, these tools are very easy to make, and protesters can make them on the spot. So we do expect them to go around, and there will very likely to be more fires later tonight. But the police today, again, just like on Sunday, it's very forceful. They're very, very organized. They do tend to come for the protesters from different directions and sort of take the things under control rather quickly. So it is a fluid situation. For now, as we understand, most of the peaceful crowd that was marching earlier have decided to go home, but it might take them quite a while to get there, and that's because more than 20 MTR stations, that's out of 80-plus MTR stations in total here in Hong Kong, so more than a quarter of them have now been shut down. The police says that that's due to extensive vandalism. But something new the protesters are doing, they're bringing padlocks to this shut MTR station entrance to use these padlocks to lock the MTR on top of the locks that the stations have for themselves. And the reason they're doing that is because they know police officers will use the MTR to move around. So this is a way for the protesters to buy themselves more time so they could cage in the police, essentially.